Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about 5 things I love about my 2009 Infiniti G37. It's a shame that Infiniti has pretty much let go of this G37 or even the Q50 platform. They just barely updated this car throughout its generation, and back then this was a really serious competitor to the BMWs, and Infiniti kind of fell down after this. But yeah, let's talk about the 5 things I absolutely love about owning this Infiniti G37. The first thing I love about this Infiniti G37, and that is going to be its power plant. Now the G37s come with the 3.7 liter V6 making 328 horsepower, all naturally aspirated, so the power curve is really good on these cars. And that has to be one of the main things, or one of the really top on my list, why I absolutely love owning this G37. This G37 engine is part of the VQ motor, which Infiniti and Nissan have been perfecting it since 2003 when it first came out with a 3.5 liter in G35. So this iteration of the VQ motor is pretty much perfected. They're very reliable, they make good power stock, and given that the car is a 2009, making 328 horsepower is really good. So absolutely love this car. The red line on this car is 7,400 RPM, so you really have fun enjoying this car, revving it out, feeling all the power band. There's no turbos, so in a way it's good because there's no power lag in terms of how the power delivery comes on. And the car can be equipped with the all-wheel drive, so it can make for some serious launches, and you can really modify this car and push some serious numbers. Now, second thing I love about is also related to the powertrain of this G37. So you're kind of starting to sense a theme here, but I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's going to be the 7-speed transmission. Now, the 7-speed transmission is a little slow compared to what you get these days with the 8-speed ZF8 transmission, the 10-speed transmission. 7-speed is definitely lacking that department, but you have to remember this car is almost 16 years old, so the 7-speed transmission not only allows you to manually shift it, but also gets you these paddle shifters. If you have the sport model like I do, you're gonna get the paddle shifters, which makes this G37 really fun to drive. Now, back then, in that era, a lot of cars were starting to add the manual transmissions and even paddle shifters, but honestly, they were pretty bad. The response on those was very slow, and it just was not fun to drive. It was just to say you had a manual mode or you had paddle shifters on the car, but using them was just so painful. This 7-speed transmission, not so much. Compared to the recent ones, like the 10-speed and the 8-speed, sure, it's a little bit slow, but when you compare it to cars of that era, these pedal shifters just make this car very fun to drive. And even if you get the G37 without the S model, you won't get the pedal shifter, but you will still have this manual mode. And the manual mode on this car is also very fun to drive. You'll really enjoy this car. It pulls very strong because of the VQ motor that we just talked about with the 7,400 RPM red line. And of course, paired with this transmission, really makes this a breeze. Now, while we're talking about the interior, the third thing that I absolutely love about this car is going to be the interior of this car. Again, it is not as modern because it is an old car, but you have to kind of see it for when it was launched, and that was launched, about 16 years ago. And this is what the interior looks like. You've got leather wrap steering wheel, you've got some aluminum finish, you got a nice screen with the GPS, and my favorite is just how the layout looks. It's relatively modern, it looks pretty good, the materials used are really good, and overall it's a very enjoyable experience, especially for the car at that price. So now, of course, it doesn't come with the CarPlay or any of that fancy stuff, so if you are just picking up the G37, you could probably swap out the screen with the CarPlay module and you'll have CarPlay. Other than that, the interior, in terms of how the layout and everything is, the materials used, is pretty good for its age. Now, I wouldn't really call it a luxury interior, but it is very premium interior compared to what you would get with some of these cars. So I definitely have to say the interior, Infiniti really nailed it, especially when you consider how old this car is. Talking about how old this car is, the fourth thing I love about this Infiniti G37 has to be the timeless design. Look at that. I mean, of course, this specific model is very old. It's got a lot of miles, so it's not in its tip-top condition. The headlights could use a little bit of a cleaner look. I can clean those headlights. The wheels are a little bit dirty and dinged up, but overall, I have to say the design of this car is very timeless. It still looks pretty good. When people ask me, I tell them this is a 16-year-old car, they honestly look at me in the shock and they're like, wait, what? They would have thought, of course it's not a modern car, but most people think this is a 2015, 2016 car, and it does not look that old. Even the interior is not extremely dated. I think part of that is because after this G37, Infiniti came out with the Q50, and that in itself was more of an evolution design than a revolution. So yes, it looks a little bit different than this G37, of course, but there are still, the car still kind of follows some of the similar design cues that the G37 has. And the Q50, unfortunately, was not changed from 2014 all the way to 2024 until when it was killed. So basically this G37 doesn't really have a true successor. You have the Q50, which kind of looks similar, but after that, you know, or I wouldn't say similar, it does look different, but it doesn't go too much different from its design language of the G37, which kind of helps out that this car is basically looking pretty timeless, because you don't have, typically you would see at least 2 generations after this car, but we only saw 1 generation, which was the Q50, and that in itself wasn't that big of an upgrade. So yeah, the timeless exterior design, interior looks really good. And the final thing that I absolutely love about this car is the value for the money. Now these cars are already so popular, but the fifth thing I really love about it is the value for the money. These cars can be had very cheap for all things considered in the used market. You can pick these up with high mileage for around $6,000 to $7,000, and compared to basically BMWs and all that stuff, what you get with this and the reliability of the VQ motor, the 7-speed transmission, and just Japanese reliability overall, you got a really good package for the amount you're paying. I mean, a 7-speed transmission with the paddle shifters, VQ motor making 328 horsepower, can be had with all-wheel drive with a pretty timeless exterior and a good interior. This is pretty good value for the money, and I feel like they're just probably going to start going a little bit up in the value once people start realizing it, that this is pretty much the perfect sports sedan you can get in the used market without feeling, you know, the reliability is going to be concerned. You can get a 335 BMW, which is going to be a nicer package than this, but you really don't want the reliability issues with the N54 and the N55 engines. So all things considered, especially the reliability in the used market, I feel like these are such great value for the money. Even if you don't care about the performance, the way the 7-speed transmission and the VQ motor delivers the power is very luxurious and smooth. And like we said, the interior is pretty good. So even if you're coming from someone who really doesn't care about the performance of it, you just want a nice luxury car, nice premium sporty car, this is the one to get. It's gonna hold up pretty good. It's got a decent interior, timeless exterior, and you still have some power if you want to ever have fun with this car. But yeah, guys, these are the 5 things I love about the Infiniti G37. I've had mine for a little while and I absolutely love driving this thing. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash that like button and of course subscribe to Red 50 for more videos.